Hello, we're back. Round 4.
Yeah, coming into round 4
Yep.
here at Legacy General Games. We're going to jump to some of the deck lists for the 3-0s.
Yeah, we're going to look at 3-0s going into round 4. So here are the standings, 3-0s, 2-1s. So we saw on stream, we saw Jared take it out with Sneak and Show.
That's right.
We saw Martin Keevers also take it out with Dragon Stompy.
Yep. And all of the death and taxes, the 4 turned into 2,
Yep.
and 2 death and taxes are in the 3-0 bracket as well.
Yep. So in the 2-1s, very much still in the contention for the top 8. We saw Will, who was bested on stream. What else did we see? We saw Mark, who was also bested on stream.
Yep.
But we've got Dredge, we've got Lands, we've got Loam,
Yeah,
we've got
it's an interesting
Reanimator,
mix.
we've got Depths. It's all there.
Yeah. So we've got 1, 2, 3 lands decks, all different. One's
Yep.
lands, one's 4-color loam, one's depths.
Yep.
In the black-green turbo depth shell. We've got a couple of different variations of Delver. We saw Grixis just before. We've got Rug in the room as well.
Yep.
And then we've got 2 iterations of Death and Taxes. One is white, one is Maverick. I know it's kind of a different deck, but it's the same sort of style of play.
Yep.
And rounding that up with the blue-black Reanimator, like you mentioned.
Yep.
Pretty exciting breakdown. I think there's a good variety of decks represented today.
It's a great cross-section.
Yeah.
I mean, like we've got... there is no one clear representation in the room.
That's right. We've got, taking it back from archetypes, like we've got a good breakdown of aggro, control, and combo in the room as well, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, you got that rock, paper, scissors going.
That's right.
So we will be seeing on stream, actually, we're going to be seeing a Death and Taxes mirror. No, we have just been informed that we will not be seeing a Death and Taxes mirror. So Jack Jiggins would be playing Matt Kelly. They've actually chosen to ID.
In round 4.
Which is keen.
Yeah.
I will not question the tournament maths because I do not do tournament maths. I like to just find out. So they're actually going to ID, which means we will not be featuring that match. Our Table 2 feature match was going to be Stephen on the Black-Red Reanimator versus Scott on Depths. So what we will actually be seeing is that will be our primary match, and we might move another match to Table 2.
Yeah.
We'll find out. But our feature 1 will probably be quite a quick one. That is 2 quite fast decks comboing off against each other.
Yeah, it should be interesting. So we've got Stephen, who's actually running the blue-black version of Reanimator.
Yes, he's done quite well with it, quite consistently well.
It's such a cool deck. It fell out of favor a bit when Black-Red became a big thing.
Yep.
After last year in Chiba, I believe, that it became popular.
Yeah, the Turbo Depths, it does one thing, it does it real well. It makes it 20-20.
Yeah.
It makes it fast, it protects it. It's quite resilient. There's as I think we were commenting earlier on how hard it is to interact with land-based strategies. And this is the epitome of the land-based strategy.
That's right.
I'm going to do this with my lands, and now there's a 20-20 in play.
That's right. That's a benefit of playing blue and Reanimator is you have that interaction.
Yes.
But it's hard when you're up against something like Depths.
Yep.
So it should be a very interesting matchup. I'm not sure which way it would go. Do you have any strong opinions, anywhere or the other?
Look, honestly, there's a certain amount of skill to it, but I also think there's going to be a large amount of it's going to be based on the cards you see in your opening. And speed, because Reanimator can turn 1 you. Oh, not turn 1, but Reanimator can just have a nut draw. So can the Depths.
So can Depths, yeah.
I think a large amount of it's going to come down to. There's obviously going to be interaction and player skill, but I think it's going to be fast and it's going to be a little bit of luck. I think you can't argue there's going to be a little bit of luck involved.
I'm sure the boards will be important in this matchup too.
Yeah, for sure.
If Scott has brought enough graveyard hate.
Yep.
And if Stephen has brought enough counters for Scott's deck.
I was going to say, I think it's probably easier to interact. Well, no, it's weird, right? So Reanimator doesn't have access. I don't believe, I'm pretty certain, isn't going to be playing cards like Wasteland, isn't going to be playing the most prolific answers to the Depths.
That's right.
Which means his direct interaction with Scott is going to be somewhat limited at best.
Yeah.
I
am just looking at Stephen just ran through his board just then to check that he had all his cards, and he did have Golgari Charm and I assume a Replicate.
Okay.
So he does have green in the board. Should be interesting to see. We'll get to the list later after the first game and they do sideboard. This is just speculation right now. But,
in terms of from Scott's side of the board, he does have access, and I believe he actually has access to one main board, Bojuka Bog as well, which is a big thing.
That's cool.
I do believe they play a main board Bog just because they can.
Yeah, of course. Crop Rotation's a really awesome card.
Yeah, Crop Rot into a Bog is the thing. And I think that based on that aspect, I think Scott is going to have more direct interaction and indirect interaction. Just in the main and in the board. That is a very nice Lotus Petal.
That's stunning. So Steve looks like he is going to
turn 1 something.
Yeah.
Now those are some very green sleeves.
Yeah. Wow.
My God. All right. So turn 1 cracks the petal, fires off an Entomb.
Brutality.
No.
Okay. So he's discarding a Griselbrand.
Griselbrand. Yep. Is that collective brutality?
Yes.
Yep.
So it's targeting himself to discard the Griselbrand.
Yep.
And he's holding a Reanimate in hand for next turn.
Yep.
So it looks like a turn 2
or
Griselbrand. And discarding as well with the brutality.
Yeah, right.
Yep. So the discarding a card escalates it.
Hits the duress, which would have taken the Reanimate. Oh, that's huge. That's big. That might just game on the spot.
I'd honestly say so.
Scott needs to rip a duress, or he needs to rip some kind of hand disruption. I think that's literally his only out.
No, I can see Steve's reading this. What is this card here that is pulled out? It's
what is that card? Something else? Is it an elf? No.
Sylvan Safekeeper.
Sylvan Safekeeper. Oh, I do know this card.
I'll leave it to you, man. But right now, it looks like Steve is taking that one or deciding on what to take.
Let's get the exact wording for Sylvan Safekeeper. It does interact very well with the deck. So, sacrifice a land, target creature you control gains Shroud until end of turn.
Okay.
It's that one.
Sure.
I actually thought it was a different card, but there you go. So that is a very clever way of protecting your 2020. All right, so there's a Pithing Needle. I imagine it's going to name Griselbrand.
Oh, yeah.
Because so that's not the worst. I mean, so your opponent's going to have a 2020, a 7/7 lifelink, but he will not be drawing cards from it, which is the main power of the Griselbrand in the Reanimator deck.
I love Scott playing the main deck Pithing Needle. I guess it's there for Wasteland, right?
But Wasteland and other things.
Yeah.
It's just a good, like I said, the core of the Turbo Depths deck is so few cards that you've got a lot of other sort of just extra fluff that you can fit in.
Sure.
And Pithing Needles just work so well in the format.
Yeah.
So that is an Exhume, I believe.
Yeah, top deck the Exhume. Both players put a creature back. Scott has no creatures.
Yep. So
it's
Steven choosing to use the Exhume there, given that it is technically the worst of the two, and at that point in the game, it does nothing for Scott. So Steven with a 7/7 flying lifelink that cannot draw cards thanks to the Pithing Needle in play.
All right, so we're seeing Dark Depths hit the table. I don't believe there's a stage in Scott's hand just yet.
No, not yet.
See an Urborg, a map.
There's a map that's a couple of turns away. All right, so he's still got some lists up here. So no mainboard answers to the now on board. I don't believe he has any way to. I don't believe he has any way of dealing with the 7/7 other than making a 20/20 himself. Yeah, look. So his plan is to.
He's on the clock.
His plan is to do the thing.
Good to note. A reason Steve didn't use Reanimate and use Exhume is that his life total is on 20.
Yep.
Will become 27, so he can actually cop a hit from Marit Large.
Yes.
So he can keep the clock going a turn after.
Yeah, right. Yeah, rather than losing the life.
Losing 8. Yeah.
Yep. Valid point. Definitely consideration. All right. So has a Daze in hand. Can't see it looks like a Daze in a Brainstorm. Not sure about the other card behind them.
I like Daze and Reanimate. That's very cool.
Oh yeah, it seems like an auto include right, to me. It's you're going to be you're tapping out. You're doing stuff. You just want to protect it.
That's right.
And you're doing it early too. All right, so that is an Urborg coming down, giving him access to 3 lands and 4 mana. That's a duress, which is going to be in response brainstormed.
Ponder, Exhume, Entomb.
All right.
Cool.
What's the other card? I still can't see the card behind the days.
Reanimate.
Reanimate. Okay, so it's a bunch of nothing really.
So he can make another thing. He can make Tidespout Tyrant. Or,
Tyrant's in the bin.
Or he can use the Entomb.
Oh, he's got the Entomb. Yeah, of course. I hope to. Sorry.
He can get anything.
Yeah, of course. He can get anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like he probably just puts the Entomb puts Entomb Reanimate back, and leaves Scott with the choice of. I think he just takes the.
Yeah.
You could also cast Entomb. Like he's got options here.
Yeah.
I actually don't know what the best would be.
Casting Entomb is good. He's got like enough.
It actually interesting point there is he possibly he has limited his options. I think if he cast the Entomb before firing off the brainstorm,
he pulled the Entomb off the brainstorm.
Oh, did he not have that in hand beforehand? No. Oh no, so he had the Reanimate in hand, not the Entomb. Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep. So forget what I'm saying once again. I will relegate myself to commentary.
So it looks like he's hiding away the Entomb on top, along with a Reanimate spell.
Yep.
So he does have another thing coming.
Yep. And so that shows the Daze, the Ponder, and the Exhume.
I find it interesting he didn't fire off the Entomb now to speed it up a turn, but he may have his own reasoning for that.
Well, he wants to hold on to both cards if he... so what he potentially... Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
So he could have kept the Exhume and the Reanimate in hand and fired off the Entomb.
Yeah.
And then...
The next turn play, I think.
Yeah, and Scott can only take one or the other. He can't take both.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
At the moment, he doesn't have enough mana to actually... Oh, no, he's got Reanimate, I think. He doesn't have 2 black sources. So he might be a turn behind. I'm not sure. We'll take it and see. So here he's firing off the Ponder.
He's going to fire off the Ponder. He's going to look at 2 cards that he knew, plus 1 he didn't. And it looks like one of them is another Entomb. Is that 2 Entombs? No, Entomb was in hand.
It's Animate Dead on the end there.
Animate Dead.
Animate Dead, Exhume, and... Oh, sorry. Animate Dead, Reanimate, and Entomb.
Yep.
A bunch of reanimating things.
Yes.
Entomb being the one he cares about, obviously.
Yes.
And passing the turn back.
I mean, look, Scott's on 4.
Yeah.
Like Griselbrand's still
7 a turn is doing it.
Griselbrand is still a large creature.
That's correct. It looks like he does have stage, so he can make.
He can make the thing. He can protect it with the Safekeeper.
Yeah.
Which will keep him alive for some period of time. But Stephen is the fastest Scott could potentially kill Stephen is it requires 2 swings of Maritlage. No, it would require 3 swings of Maritlage given that the life gain
is 34.
Maritlage would be obliged to block the Griselbrand, which would then gain put Stephen. No, but now he's losing some life. We'll work out the math once we.
Tim Tahorak mentioning in the chat, awesome name, man. Is that he might have been playing around Surgical? Didn't want to leave the Tyrant in the bin for a turn, which is very important.
Yeah, I'm not sure the Surgical's main. I know that the Turbo Depths play some interesting cards.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think they play a mainboard Surgical.
It's possible that they do. I don't think it's on does, but
no, they do not.
Yeah. I can understand him trying to play around that.
Yep. So in hand, we see a Thespian Sage and a Verdant Catacombs, I believe that was. Misty on the other side of the table, Reanimate and Exhume in hand. Firing off the Reanimate, targeting the Tidespout Tyrant, and I think that might be...
So yeah, if he gets the token, he can just bounce it now.
Yep. Tidespout Tyrant, a hell of a card.
Yeah.
Bounce.
I'm pretty sure that's it.
Bounce the world. Yeah, I don't think there's anything Scott can do. Sylvan Safekeeper.
It does give it Shroud.
It does give it Shroud, but it will run out of lands. So interesting. No, because the thing is Scott can't attack. So Scott can't attack into the Griselbrand because it doesn't kill Stephen, and then he would die in the backswing.
Yeah.
But Stephen can sort of just sit there and run Scott out of lands to sack. Yeah, so Scott loses 2 lands, making the Dark Debt to make the token he loses 2 lands.
Yep.
And then he's left with 2 lands, which means Stephen can force him to sack 1 in order to Shroud.
Sure.
Leaving him on 1 land and not be under. I think the game's still wrapped up. I don't think there's anything Scott can do about it.
Even if he just waits a turn and sacks with both, right? He's just got it with damage.
Yeah, or goes around him. Yeah, exactly. So
I love the going wide in Reanimator.
hey, 2 creatures is wide. Strictly two more. It's strictly one more than you.
More than one.
It's double. It's double, man.
Yes, he's moving to attack with Gristlebrand. Solo.
Yep.
Forces
Scott to make the token.
That's right.
Which will be targeted with the bounce, which will then... Oh, no, he can't target with bounces.
He's only got Exhume, which is a sorcery speed.
Why is he attacking then?
Yeah, I'm surprised too, honestly. I think I'd wait till the second turn.
It's not necessary.
Because then you can win with 2 creatures, but he might have something else planned. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
He's fetching.
but both of the lines we just discussed, neither of which you need to attack this turn.
Oh, it's possible that he wants to cast Exhume targeting the Pithing Needle.
Okay.
And then he can get back Gristlebrand. And then use it to draw 7 cards. Yeah, okay.
That just seems unnecessary.
Well, it's the same position he was in.
Yeah.
However, now he has cards.
And gain 7 life. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah. All right, just a line. Yep. I'll pay it.
That's why he's playing the deck. Wow.
Yep. Question in regards to the Black Border land. Is it foreign or is it...
is it beta?
Is it beta? Or is
Real questions?
Foreign Black Border. It is a foreign Black Border.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. So both of us missed the best line there, which is the same as, passing and having 2 creatures, but, getting 7 cards and 7 life at the same time. Oh, sorry, 0 life, but 7 cards, which is a really good play by Stephen.
Yeah.
Just covering all of his outs, even though he feels like he's ahead.
Yeah, you're just pointing out that he did the right thing. Yep, this is why we're commentating and they're playing.
That's it. What do we know?
I am relegated to the peanut gallery quite often. I've gotten quite good at throwing peanuts, but...
the needle's back.
The needle's back. It doesn't matter, however.
It's forced, yeah.
Look, I think Scott can scoop him up and go to game 2 here.
Yeah. Oh, and trigger on the tyrant, bounce the token, and yeah.
Yep, it's all done.
Great stuff by Stephen.
Just having some discussion.
I do know that...
All right, so we'll see what's going on the table there. So he's going to, in response, crack Crop Rot, and then I imagine get a step to give it Pro Blue. Crop Rot's getting dazed.
He's playing step.
No, he plays a step, mate.
He does? Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. Crop Rot's getting dazed. Look, I think this is all academic at this point. I don't believe there's a line that Scott wins. But, I mean... Scooping is also a quick way to lose.
Oh yeah.
So may as well
go through your lines. Yeah.
May as well go through a line. Your opponent could always make a mistake.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true.
Forget to block or something.
Yeah.
So
Stephen had all the cards. He played it perfectly.
Game 1.
Scott did his best against that.
That is a nice colour split there. Nice 50-50.
That bit of white there is hurting me, man. Get Iona out of here. Just ruining the chart. LS Norn as well. Get out of it.
All right. So what are we expecting to see come in here?
Look, Echoing Truth is good.
Yep.
Decay is fine. Needle is fine.
Needle
Thoughtseize is fine. There's a lot in there that I'd happily side in. I'm not sure what he'd want to side out. Because at a certain point, you're just sort of slowing down your own deck.
Yeah, exactly.
Reanimator does want to stay fairly close to its first 60.
Yep. You got to...
Looks like he's, again, bringing in the needle.
Needle seems good. Yeah, the thought... Yeah, you're just pointing out Echoing Truth, Pithing Needle, Thoughtseize. Yeah, that seems about right. I don't think... There's some other stuff there that looks like it could be good, but I don't think you need it.
No.
Like you said, you don't want to dilute your opening 60... You don't want to dilute your 60 too much because your deck still does what it does.
That's right. So he's pulled aside those cards that we mentioned, and I'm keen to see what he is looking at taking out. Maybe he's cutting out on one of the dazes, trimming there. Takes that Elishnorn. Yeah, it's
makes sense.
not good in this matchup.
Makes perfect sense. What else have we got?
Hits those Hex Mages, bro.
Stops at the Griselbrand. Grave Titan. No,
Titan's in.
Titan's in still. Days.
Yeah.
So all the Dazes are going to come out. No, did you just go past the Days?
Yeah, Daze is coming out makes sense because he's on the draw here.
Oh, Daze is on the draw bad. Iona, I don't think you need.
He's considering it. I don't think it's good against Dark Depths because, it's all land-based. It hits the crop rot, but a lot of the key pieces are colourless anyway.
Yeah, I don't think Iona is necessary. I mean, it is, but it is a target. It's just a target.
That's true. Is it better just to bring in a different target like Blazing Archon? Or?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he considered it heavily. All right, so he's obviously... Yeah, he's got some interesting decisions here. Yeah, cuts the Days. We'll jump over to Scott, see what Scott's having a look at. All right. Karakas is probably definitely in.
Oh, yeah. Surgical's good. It's great.
Surgical's good. Surgical's great. Yep. Probably the other Pithing.
Yep.
I think that's it, right?
That's pretty much it.
I think that's it. I don't see anything else. What are you pulling out? If you're probably taking out... It's hard. Because they're all relevant.
Needed.
They're all relevant. Like, they all do stuff.
Some of the hand control is less important against Reanimator because, taking their target sucks and taking their enabler, they've got like 12 of them. Duress / Thoughtseize may be coming out.
Maybe the hand disruption is not where you want to be. But the thing is, at the same time, it feels bad knowing that you could just duress them and they're left with nothing.
It's true. Yeah, it's very true.
It's hard. That's a hard one.
I don't know. Like sometimes the duress for a turn.
I think guaranteed Karakas goes in place of in place of a swamp or something.
Karakas is good. Decay is good because it hits the Animate Dead.
Yeah, it does hit the Animate Dead, but I don't think you want to hedge your bets.
Enough.
You don't want to hedge your bets on it.
Yeah. Definitely Surgical and Karakas for starters.
Surgicals and Karakas definitely.
I'm not sure that it brings anything else in.
I mean,
we'll have a look.
Yeah, depends. It's hard. I think it's one of those combo decks that no matter what every piece of the original 60 kind of does something.
Yeah, and you can see these two are having that exact same problem. They're like, our decks are important, our 60 are important.
Yep.
But they all, how much disruption can we squeeze in?
Exactly, yeah. So like the decks are tuned to the optimal for the original 60, and then any sideboard changes you make might be making the matchup more solid, but are definitely making your original 60 worse.
That's correct.
Yeah. Anyways, I mean, actually, I think you probably take out the step. Thinking about it, just a minor thing. I think you would swap the step for the for the Karakas because you just step isn't gonna. Your opponent isn't. No, step's not playing a role in this. At least that would be my logic. You're more likely to crop rot into a Karakas to not be dead. I believe step. I could talk about Siduri. No, there it is. It's in his hand right now.
Yeah, sure.
So no, kept the Siduri step in hand.
So looking at his hand now, he has Duress, Peddle, some land. Looks like a Sylvan Scrying in the back there and a Crop Rod.
So I think if I'm Scott here, I fire off the turn 1 Duress immediately.
Yeah.
My opponent kept some cards. Undoubtedly, there's a spell in there that I want to get rid of.
That's right.
Yep, fires off the turn 1 Duress. So he's going to see a Reanimate.
Animate Dead. It's the Entomb, right?
You're going to hit the Entomb. Yep. Leave him. Yeah. It's the usual logic. 2 of one type of card, 1 of the other. Take away the 1. Yep.
Also, can we just appreciate? I'm pretty sure this Reanimator deck is entirely foiled / 4 black bordered.
Stephen brought in a Show and Tell.
Did he bring it in?
It was on the board. Yeah. There was definitely 2 Show and Tells on the board.
Wow, I love this deck. Blue black's so cool. It's so different to black.
Well,
red.
I mean, it makes sense because you Show and Tell against
because people are going to side in cages and stuff.
Yeah.
Show and Tell's like you change your deck.
Just put it into play. And the thing is, particularly against Turbo Depths, what is your opponent going to Show and Tell in? Like, they can't.
Can you Show and Tell a land?
I think you can, but I don't think it helps.
It doesn't help. No.
I believe it's just a permanent.
Yeah. All right, so he's playing the Underground Sea. I think your first play here is there's almost nothing you can do without the Entomb. I think it's just go. Looks like that's what's happening.
Yep. The duress showing work there.
Scott looking very fast this game. He has all the tutors in hand.
Access to 2 mana. He could literally go. I know he doesn't have it, but I mean, like depths into a. This is the speed of this deck. I mean, like right now, he could literally go depths. Vampire Hex Mage.
Oh yeah.
You have a turn.
Yeah.
All right. So just some news from our backup feature match. So on table 2, Show and Tell. Jared Ossoff with Show and Tell takes it over Dragon Stompy. So Jared moves on to 4-0.
Well done, Jared.
Yep,
it's good.
Martin drops down to 3-1.
Yes.
Still very much in the running though. I do find it interesting that Stephen kept in the Grave Titan.
Yeah.
I don't think it doesn't. It's not impactful enough. You play a Grave Titan, it doesn't interact with anything your opponent's doing.
Yeah.
And it's not a clock. It's a 3-turn clock.
Yeah.
Like the only consideration is that it's a castable card.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I feel like
a big
I feel like it's a very card in the matchup because your opponent's killing you in a swing.
Yeah.
And if you spend time casting a Grave Titan that presents a 3-turn clock on the ground, then what's the point?
For sure. I agree with you. It'd be cool to see what Steven thinks about it. He obviously loves this deck to bits. Judging by how cool it looks. So I'm sure he's played a lot.
It could just be that there was organic sideboarding. It could just be that there was no reason to cut it. There was nothing better. You know, like sideboarding. There's a lot of elements of sideboarding.
Sure.
Yeah.
Taking a look at Scott's board, he's got Dark Depths in play. He's got a Needle. Unsure of what the Needle named.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know.
And he does have the Crot Rotation in his hand. So
Pithing Needle preemptively naming Gristlebrand.
Yeah, sure.
So Stephen has an Echoing Truth in hand, apparently, which is quite good.
Yes, and a Pithing Needle of his own.
Dueling Pithing Needles.
Yep.
Response to the Pithing Needle, we're going to see a Crop Rot into, I imagine, a Thespian stage and make the thing.
Does he have enough? No. Oh, he's got Urborg, right?
Urborg.
So we can tap Dark Depths. Yep.
However, Stephen, this is going to suck because Stephen has an Echoing Truth in hand.
That's true.
That's a blowout.
For sure.
Yeah, you're just pointing it out, the Echoing Truth there. That's Scott obliged to do it and Stephen rewarded for sequencing.
Absolutely. So Pithing Needle has now resolved, and it names Thespian Sage anyway.
Sage, which,
for the future.
Yeah, which is fine. Scott's going to be left with 1 land in hand, 1 land in play, 2 lands in hand, and no 2020.
That's right. That third 4 on Black Border, Underground Sea.
Oh, money. Get money.
And there it is.
Oh, feels bad. Feels bad.
That's brutal.
All right.
I know Scott has played versions of this deck, including Not of This World.
Oh, draws another land.
This one, however, does not seem to be playing it, so I think he's stuck for answers.
Is that 2 Urborgs in hand? Wow. 2 Urborgs in hand and a Sajuri step, 1 in play.
Yep.
That's unfortunate for Scott. Stephen played correctly, made the plays he needed to play. That is a... What?
That's a Show and Tell, mate.
Oh, it's a Show and Tell, right?
Yeah. Scott says no. Stephen says Grave Titan. And I think this is pretty much
the game. Now. I mean, Grave Titan's going to do work now because Scott doesn't have a 2020. But if he had a 2020, what's a Grave Titan going to do? Even the tokens are foiled.
Oh, that's beautiful. Props to Stephen. That is a stunning looking deck.
Scott rips another land off the top of his deck. Ugh. It is foil though.
Yeah. It's got the pretty swamp too. The pink flower.
All right. Well, Grave Titan's going to swing away. Make some
zoms. Oh, they're all foil. Good.
It's going to hold on.
Yeah, that's the game.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I'll land on the top again. That's a lot of land.
There's a lot of lands in the deck, man. It's a big blowout, the Echoing Truth.
Yeah, look, honestly, it came down to Stephen sequenced correctly.
Yeah.
Had the Echoing Truth, played the Pithing Needle when he needed to play it.
That's right. They both did the correct thing. Scott demolished Stephen's hand in the first 2 turns, and Stephen was able to come back with it with his sideboard hate that brought in. Which is very important.
Yep. Chose the correct turn to play the Pithing Needle.
That's right.
With the Echoing Truth backup. Anyways, so that is round 4, at least for coverage, concluded. So we've got... so what just went on there? That was...
So that was Blue-Black Reanimator,
Reanimator.
Yep.
So Reanimator's 4-0.
Yes.
Um,
So Reanimator and Sneak and Show
Yep,
are
Sneak and
both
Show. Sneak and
4-0.
Show. And other matches are still in progress.
Yep.
But-
two very quick ones on the feature table. Both
Yep.
very fast combat decks.
Yep.
But,
So yeah, well, pardon me, sorry. So that was cool. Didn't get to see our mirror match. The two
the Death and Taxes.
Death and
era.
Taxes. Death and Taxes.
Hopefully we'll see something like that later on in the tournament. There are still lots of Death and Taxes players who are alive.
Yep. Yeah. So like we just saw Legacy in a nutshell. We saw the power of the cards. For the people at home that haven't necessarily played much Legacy or seen much Legacy, that I think the last game there really demonstrates the appeal.
Yeah.
The level of impact that single individual cards have, the power of the decks overall, how efficiently they do. So you pick what you want. You pick your deck and whatever you want your deck to do, and you have access to all the cards to make it do it really well.
Right. And even if you're not into making giant creatures, like I've demonstrated today, decks like Death and Taxes is just a White Winnie deck that's the most efficient White Winnies
exactly.
in the best composition of all time.
Yeah, exactly.
And that works.
Or a really solid control deck.
Exactly.
You have access to all the best versions of cards. Like the cards that when new cards come out in new sets, they're always compared to old cards. These are those cards. Everything, every counter spell is compared to counter spell.
Yeah.
These are cards in this format.
That's right. We're playing real Magic with.
It's a great experience. So if you, as I think I said previously, if you are a Magic player and you do enjoy big, powerful cards, but might not necessarily have access to Legacy, feel free to come down to General Games. Join in on the Magic on the Legacy community in Melbourne, because if you want to play, there'll be someone willing to help you out for sure.
All right, guys, we are going to cut to a small break here before the start of the final round of Swiss.
Yep.
And we'll be joining you soon. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, guys.